Hey, what's going on? This is David Brooks, the Cadillac Counselor. I am here with a guy by the name of Carlton Hill. Carlton Hill is a guy that I've known probably, man, I don't know, maybe like almost probably 9, 10 years, probably now 8, 9 years, something like that. We started off working at the where I first met him was when I was working at the health department, and he was working in the peer staffing, kind of working with the adolescents, kind of just peer recovery, just totally. And so I got a chance to watch him and watch his passion through life, and I'm a person that I connect with people through passion. So when I see people have passion, those are the people that I connect with. And so whenever I noticed that I was going to do some recordings, a friend of mine by the name of Sean Nicholson kind of threw it at me and said, man, you're doing some shows, man, but no other person than this guy Carlton Hill. And I couldn't even believe that I hadn't even thought about it. So without any other waste of time, I want you guys to meet Carlton Hill. So, hey, Carlton, what's going on with you?
Hey, David, I'm doing well. Praise God. I'm doing fine, brother. Good to hear from you.
Good to hear from you. So you are the Director of Recovery Supports at Frederick Rescue Mission. What does that mean?
Well, what that means to me is God has placed me to help guide men in recovery on the path that He's elected for each and one of them. A lot of guys that are in recovery who chose faith as their pathway of recovery, because recovery has many pathways.
Yeah.
They're just lost, and after they get recovered, they try to get recovered in other areas, and then they wind up relapsing or still not knowing what to do with their life. So being a director of the Change Life Recovery Program, I just stress the term change life. After you tried recovery and now you're in your path of recovery, now let's look at the life part. Let's look at the inner man. And let's seek change in that area, because I tell the guys it's different between sobriety and a clean time. Clean time is now you're addressing your behavior, you're addressing the way you're thinking. Because there's so many people out there that don't drink and don't smoke, but they still are lost with their attitudes, their behavior. They're still hurting, they're still broken. So as a director of the Change Life Recovery Program, we just address the inner healing or the brokenness of men. And God has blessed me with that, because I was once that person. I was once that person that was broken, and I had a lot of relapses and didn't know why it was happening to me, because I was still broken on the inside.
You said that people take a route. And so I know that a lot of people are listening, and you said taking one route. What are some other routes that people can take in the recovery process?
There are community meetings that people take. Your NA, your AA, your smart recovery people choose to do the meditation. People choose exercising, their job. They're trying to do something positive in their life. They go to therapy, they go to psychiatry. They have mentors, they have sponsors, but they have they choose different types of support systems to try to support them in their new role on this new life that some of them, ever since birth, because of the families or the dysfunction that they grew up in, don't know about another life other than the life of struggle. And so to tell them that there is a new life, that they don't know how to cope with that. What are you talking about? So I've been drinking, or I've been doing drugs, or I've been eating, or whatever the vices are all my life. That's all I've been around. So now there's a new life. You said, without this, I need support. So there's other means of support out there that we just try to guide them, that people, just try to find those resources. And at the Frederick Rescue Mission, we can also provide those resources for them, but also to let them know that there is a person on the inside that needs to be healed also.
So from what I'm hearing is that you can take all kinds of avenues to get to that place in recovery, but if you don't really get to that inner person, that inner being, that person that talks to you when no one else is listening to you, because you know that voice that I'm talking about. You know that voice that tells you you're insignificant, you're losing, you're not getting better quicker. Whatever that inner voice is, it really wants to combat the real you, because it doesn't want you better. It wants you to stay sick. And so if you don't really get into that inner man, you're just wasting time, honestly.
That is correct. It is a familiar voice that you had all your life, and unfortunately, when you go home and you close the doors, your therapist is not with you. Your sponsor is not with you. Your counselor is not with you. When you go to the bathroom or when you go to the store or when you have to drive down the street and there's certain triggers, nobody's with you but you. And you still had that familiar voice talking to you. And it's talking to that broken person on the inside. For men, it's talking to the little boy that's inside them that has not been healed. For women, to the little girl. And there's Jesus Christ, there's the Lord, there's God that's there to help heal that wounded person on the inside. So we stress the change life part. We can change things on the outside, but there's an inner person on the inside. There's the you inside of you that needs to be healed.
Yeah, and but I look at those pictures behind you, man. Those are some nice pictures. Who painted those for you? Who painted those for you?
I painted those. And I know you'll get to my story later, but that could be part of my story. But those are some of the things that has been restored in me to help me in my recovery process. There was a person inside of me that did that, though, that did those paintings that I never knew exist until I became healed from the inside.
Yeah.
And all these giftings came out of me. And like I said, we as people have so many giftings and purposes in our lives. And unfortunately, so many people go to the grave with their purpose still in them that has not been exposed. And that comes in the healing process.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. And so with that, I mean, I see on your Facebook and I see that you teach people. So you hold classes even at the rescue mission during the COVID to give people that time to paint and use it as a coping skill?
Yes, indeed. Some guys will participate and some guys won't, but I give the guys the opportunity to just have fun too. Like most people say, oh, I can't paint, I can just do stick figures, I can't do this and that. And I say, it's not about can't, it's about just see what art is to you, because art is just expression. And some of these guys are very surprised what they can do when you just sit down and just put a paintbrush to your hand and an empty canvas and I just said, just do you. I'll give you some instructions, but just do you. And they'll be surprised on what the giftings that they have in.
I'll tell you, it's funny that you're talking about this. Me and my wife, we went to a little paint night, and it was supposed to be this relaxing environment. And when we started painting, I looked over at my wife's picture and I see she's putting a little swoop in it, and I'm like, oh no, I can't let you get your. So by the time we finished, we were literally in a competition, and we brought it back to the kids and was like, you pick which one you think is the best, So even though it can be fun and relaxing, I mean, painting can be used for anything. So
go ahead, I'm sorry.
So tell me what the coping aspects, like how can you use painting to cope with, let's say, like depression or maybe anxiety? How can we use painting to help with that?
Well, with me, I've always been a person who likes nature. Even in my addiction, when I get so frustrated and get so But I used to beat myself up so much. I would, when I did have a car, I would just get in my car and just drive, just come up in this area, come from Washington, D.C. So I would come up to this area and just drive through the Shenandoah, drive throughout Route 66 and just look at the mountains and just look at the trees and probably just, it was just a way for me to just look. And that's always been, and just relax. So when I paint, if you notice, most of my painting is always nature. It's always the things that relax me. You know, it just helps me to get it out and put it on canvas. It's the same thing when I ask guys when they write a journal. I say your journal is a way of just expressing what's in you, because a lot of times we don't know how to say it out of our mouths. But when you put it on paper, with some people who write, some people who choose to run, you know, it's just a way to just releasing what's on the inside to the outside. And so, and painting for me, I know painting for some people is a way of expression of what's going inside. It doesn't matter what the painting looked like. That's why so many things can see so many people see so many things in abstract paintings, or paintings that one person don't see anything, but one person may even see their life. The exact painting behind me with the eye on, if I turn to this part right here, or this side over here, this is my life story. It's a painting of an eye and me laying down, you know, curled up, wondering, you know, why am I like this? Because I wasn't raised as an addict. And it's like God's eye just looking over me with a tear dropping. You know, that's how I felt. So I can just sit back and just paint my feelings, and people can just paint their feelings. And you really can't judge anybody's painting or anybody's talent, because that's who they are when they put on canvas.
So, you know, to kind of swing this around. So, like I told you guys before, me and Carlton started out at the health department, and that was what it was. We'll just leave it like that. Because we didn't really get a chance to really work with each other. It was like we were on two different islands trying to solve the same problem. Just you were over there, I'm over, and we would meet at like meetings and be like, hey, you know what I mean? And then we catch up for a quick minute, and then it would be another couple of months until we came back together. But I today, my next door neighbor, I mean, the neighbor in my neighborhood, he's being buried today. And it was somebody that I walked with and talked with. And matter of fact, his funeral was at 12 o'clock. And when you see the people, because I know you're working with people literally in the streets, how does that play out when you see somebody, you know, pass away, or someone that you have worked with and they just lose the battle? How does that play out in your world?
It hurts. It hurts. I've always told God, you know, I say, when the day comes that I'm no longer passionate or have feelings for those who are relapsed or passed away, then it's time for me to work somewhere else. Because this, for me, this is not a job. This has never been a 9-to-5 job. I never asked to be a counselor. I never asked to be a peer recovery specialist. Never asked to be a director. I didn't know. I was a chef at one time. And now the type of job that I have, I'm very unpassionate. When people pass away, I go to their either their homegoings, or I call their families. We just recently lost 2 guys in my recovery program within the last 3 weeks, and it hurts. It really does hurt. I mean, to know that the battle that they lost the battle. When people relapse, it hurts. You know, you have the recovery community is vast and it's always evolving, and that means that there's always different types of drugs coming and going, and people are hurting. It makes me stronger. It makes me go out and push myself a little harder, because the battle is still there. The battle is not over yet. You know, we win. We have small victories, and I try to tell the guys to grab onto those small victories. Do not discount your small victories, because they need the large ones. But it is real out there, and
it's real.
Yeah,
it's real.
For me personally, it hurts.
I tell people, and you guys are watching, I'm gonna be honest. When you really, really care about what's going on, like it takes something out of you every single time you get that news. You know what I mean? Like I can't explain what that feeling is like, but all I know is literally I've been to almost every one of the funerals. Only way I didn't go is if I didn't know about it. Like I found out weeks after that person had passed away. But I mean, anybody that I've ever worked with, if I found out they passed away, I like to see the end. And and it's not a selfish thing. It just makes me remember that this is a fight. You got me? Like sometime you'll get into that robotic world where you just kind of doing, you just pushing paper and you're doing this and you're getting them to the next program and you're trying to help them. But one day when someone passes away, it makes you just stop and you say to yourself, man, we're really fighting. You know what I mean? So with that fight, what makes your story and the future of your story so much better? So you see these guys relapsing, you see them falling off. How does that make your story that much stronger?
It makes me stronger because it is always a reminder. I never forget where I came from, and it's always a reminder or a way of pushing me to study more, to be more involved in the recovery community, to be more knowledgeable of what's happening to help the next person. In my lifetime, there have been, I think, 2 near-death experiences with me. I was out there when the cocaine epidemic was out in the late 80s and the 90s.
Okay.
And I suffered so much from being homeless to living in the streets to going to trying to find jobs to washing up in a McDonald's bathroom with paper towels and all types of things. And so I know the struggle of the homeless and what they went through. So when they do pass away, when they do relapse, it just pushes me stronger to find out what's really going on out there in the streets. This new thing with I knew that when fentanyl came out, that came out. It wasn't out when I was there. This other stuff that's out, I can't think of the name right now. But these new drugs that are out, I want to know more about what's happening. I want to know more about why is it so. What is enticing them to go out there? I know there's a spiritual battle. I definitely do know that.
Yeah.
But for those who cannot grab the spiritual battle, I want to give them tangible information of what's happening because it is real out there. So it continues to push me. It continues to give me the passion to find out. And people in my life, some of my family and things like that, they don't understand. They say, well, you got a dangerous job. You're dealing with people that's out to hurt one another. Well, God is funny to me. My very first job was a provincial counselor in the Department of Corrections.
Oh.
That was my very first job.
Yeah.
To deal with inmates in the Department of Correction. And that was a time where my son was murdered and things like that. And I still had to, had to develop that heart for those people who were in prison who were hurting.
Yeah.
As well as in recovery.
Yeah.
And then I was being healed in recovery. So all that was happening with me.
Wow.
So I have that drive that God has placed in my life and I don't know where it came from but him, but to help people, and to push me.
Good.
Because I don't want to see anybody like that. I mean, those memories can still be vivid in my life from time to time.
Guys, I want you guys to truly understand who this guy is. He's not just a guy who's behind the desk pushing papers and trying to make something happen. He's literally on the streets running. He is trying to grab people. He's spiritual. His mind is made up. Man, I've even watched this guy get his wife back together. I mean, that's a whole nother story. Like he came and confided in me at the beginning. I remember we were at that training and we were standing outside and we talked right across the health department. And you were like, man, I don't even know if it's going to work, but I'm going to try to get my wife back involved. And then next thing you know, a year later, you were telling me you guys were on dates and everything else. And so listen, that's what shows me what type of man you are. Not the recovery stuff, not the jobs, but just the fact that your life and your wife and your family is the most important thing to you. So I commend you. Keep the fight going. Keep it going. Okay.
All right. I will.
All right. So, guys, tune in tomorrow. But with me, we're just trying to keep everybody positive in the midst of the corona. All right. So good to see you. Good to see Carlton. It's the Cadillac Counselor. Take it easy, guys.